Hello, I'm back. Hello, Fuzzy Bee. Hey, Johnny. Hey, Lake. Hey, Chaotic. Good to see you guys. Chaotic, we need to do a live soon. It's been a while. Let me know. So, this is just kind of a whatever live, but I wanted to address Anthony Greeno. Well, we'll just show this little clip here. Make sure my audio is gonna let you guys hear it. So ridiculous. He won't let it, like, he just keeps lying about it, so, you know. It's what I do. He lies and I tell the truth about him and he hates it. But, yeah, I will go away when he goes away. So, I'm here for the long haul. I state it again, state it all the time. I see it in chats. I don't care if anyone doesn't like it. I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I give my forks to. He is the worst in my opinion, and I'm just like, I'm gonna keep exposing him because he keeps lying. He keeps on lying, just keeps on trucking. Third person him, first person, all of his many names, they all lie. So this is just a one of quite a few, actually, in his latest videos, that I know for a fact he is lying because it's about me, and I have a little letter. I didn't expect him to write a whole letter, but from my husband, Mr. Cold Truth. He wrote a letter and he addresses Greeno in the letter, so I'm going to read it if I can. It's his handwriting is not the best, so it might be a little bit of a struggle, but you'll get the gist. But I want to show the clip first. Hey, Mary. How are you? All right, let me find it here. Find it. They're always like, I'll go here and I'm like, oh, there it is right there. I don't even need to look. And then when I go back, it's moved. And I can't remember what I named it. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. Hey, Monica. Good to see you. Hey, Cher. Good to have you guys. Hey, Jill. Good to see you. All right. Now I'm gonna. I'm gonna pull this up on my phone so I can make sure you guys hear me. All right. Hey, CCD, how are you? All right. Ready to see it?
And was in jail, and
Can you hear it?
9 months into my sentence,
Kind of low. Yeah, he is a psycho. Can
Male
you hear it?
causes all this crazy.
Okay, thank you, Cher. All right, so here's the little clip of the lie.
And was in jail, and 9 months into my sentence.
Well, that part's too. He was in jail. And I don't feel like it was a whole 9 months, but okay, we'll give him that.
Mel causes all this crazy shit. Why is Mel such hate for me? Probably because she tried to hit me up and wanted to hook up with me while she had a husband. I told her husband, and her husband freaked out on her. There's a good reason. Was in jail, and 9 months. Why is Mel such hate for me? Probably because she tried to hit me up and wanted to hook up with me while she had a husband. I told her husband, and her husband freaked out on her.
Yeah. So there's the lie. He's been telling this one for a while, and I say misogynistic because he is using I identify as a female, and he is using that against me. With his lying. Like he's done it with murder victims, mothers. I've seen him do that. I've seen him do that with other women in true crime, and it's just like a chauvinistic thing, just a chauvinistic thing to do, of using the fact that like I am a female and saying that I am trying to hook up with him and that's why I do this. Like that. You see what I mean there? So it's just like that, those gender roles that he falls into so easily because he is, he just is just kind of a chauvinistic, sexist, misogynist, in my opinion. And so now for the truth. We are not married. We've been together for, my gosh, I'm not really good at all that like date stuff. Like 16 years, 15, 16 years, something like that. So quite a long time. So we're married. Like he calls me his wife and I call him my husband. We did do the whole like court thing. But he so kindly, he is not. He does not like this. Like he doesn't have Facebook. He doesn't have any, like social media. Like he is not into this at all. But I have recently, well, we've talked about it before, but like here recently I showed him the videos. I showed him the last short that I made. Yeah, I showed that to him. Wasn't a big fan of that. And then obviously the clip that I just showed you guys, and then some of the other, I'll kill, some of the other threats to other people. And yeah, so he had something to say about it, but he just doesn't want any part of this. So I'm not going to make him, and I wasn't even going to mess with this, but it's just like such a kind of a perfect time to like, I mean, he's a liar. Why do you guys give him any credence on anything that he says? Once you know that someone is lying about one thing, like when they have a clear pattern of lying, like why would you go to them for any information, any newsworthy information on true crime or otherwise? It doesn't make any sense to me because this is a person that has admittedly lied in specifically the Delphi case. And he's admitted that about the whole radio broadcast weird thing that he did. He's just a liar. So I'm going to read this. Bear with me because he doesn't have the best handwriting. Okay, so this is Mr. Cold Truth. While I wish to remain anonymous and do not okay. While I wish to remain anonymous and do not participate in this true crime social media world. My wife has my full support and backing in every way. I have met very few people in this true crime world and have never had any contact with anyone named Anthony Greeno or anyone else for that matter. I have been made aware of this situation and the threats made against my family. I have never questioned the faithfulness or loyalty of any family member, especially my wife. To the small, weak man lying about and threatening my wife, myself, or children, it is a poor choice, but we all have choices to make. So, that's what he had to say to him. Feel bad for him to even have to give him any, say, oh, now I can't see it all. Now I can't see the chat. I'm going to have to wear these stupid things. And it really sucks getting old. It really sucks. I can't see, but usually I can see my computer screen, but now that I guess now that I've had them on, I can't. But yeah, so he's never contacted my husband. That I've never ever done anything, whatever it was he said, of I wanted to get with him or whatever the words he used. I can't remember. But basically he turned me down and told my husband about it, which is just a flat out lie. It didn't happen. And that was his letter, to Greeno on this issue. So, there's that. And I just feel like it's when you think about when you're trying to come up with a lie on the fly, it's a pretty easy one to just attack someone based on their gender. And that's why he continuously does it. He does it to so many women. It's misogynistic, it's chauvinistic, it's annoying. And basically, something that you would expect from someone that's narcissistic. They have those traits, is to go for that blow of, oh, well, I turned her down, so she's just a bitter ex. That's easy for him to put me in that place because he can con people with that of oh, well, she's just an angry, bitter ex. You've seen him do it to Crime Geek. You've seen him do it to Cheyenne. He literally did it to Anna Williams. How disgusting is that? I'm pretty sure that video is still up on Kat's channel. Good luck trying to find it because they have quite a lot. But yeah. So basically, he's calling my integrity, for one, and my character into question by saying that. It's a flat out lie. And it does affect my character if people believe it. I don't really care what people online believe, whatever. It's just the fact that here is another example of all of the lies that he tells, and there was some whoppers in some of his last videos, just inserting himself. I do want to set the record straight. Gray Hughes Investigates did not purchase a tracker, Greeno. I never, ever, ever said that. And you know it. That isn't, to my, I don't know. I got a call about, I've talked to you guys about the Crime Geek's mom. Literally had her on. I don't have any, I didn't buy a tracker. Gray Hughes didn't buy a tracker. We did not. That was her decision, and she made it, and she did it because she was scared. She was worried about her grandkids. And you can go back to that video when Crime Geek's mom talks on here to me and explains the situation. I'm honestly, I think it was a pretty awesome moment, of here is a fugitive from law, and he's inserting himself into a family and they were worried, and I did not reach out to her first. She contacted me on Messenger. I never reached out. He just threatened me on Nakota Kelly's Facebook page that I run for trying to get support to find the little boy. He's 10 years old. He was murdered and dismembered by his father and put in 3 states, according to law enforcement, what they told me. And so this is like a serious page, and I run it, and he sent me a message on this little boy's advocacy page, and he accused me of, he said, contact, you can read it in my community post, contact her again and see what happens. Never contacted her, so she probably, I'm assuming that they got into a fight or they broke up, or I don't know what happened, but obviously he can't take accountability for anything, so of course it's got to be me. So ridiculous. Hey Ruckus, how you doing? Hey Bern, how are you? If Greeno ain't lying, he ain't trying. Yeah. Honestly, it's just like, I think he would rather lie. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand it. It's like some of them are just kind of like, but why? Like, why even make up this whole big story that isn't even believable? Like when he does it with the inserting himself into the Delphi case. I mean, it's got to really burn his biscuits, as Ange would say, to not be included in the CW, whatever they're doing, whatever documentary they're doing. But yeah, like, because he's not significant in any case whatsoever. But no one's gonna, no one would even know to call him, let alone like think of him. Or when they did, they'd be like, yeah, no, that guy's a liar. So we're not gonna have him on. Hey Frank, how are you? Frank is the guy to go to. He's the new guy on the street for just the facts, Delphi related documents. He's your guy. He's going to get you the documents and just really kind of bluntly just be about that, and that is way more useful than the flashy dramatics and replaying his old videos over. I mean, good Lord. It's so, I don't know how people handle it. Of like, someone will be on a live and then they play you their old videos, like their commercials, throughout the entire live. Like, dude, you're just not that special. I don't get it. Third person or otherwise, just not. You don't got it. I don't know. And the laser sounds out. But yeah, just like go to Frank, go to Ruckus. Ruckus is really good about just being, real straightforward and blunt. True crime, Steve, True Crime Web. God, I love that guy. Burn After Reading. There's a lot of, if you prefer men, those are some good ones to go to. If you, I'm trying to think of some other, Incognito, but it's not on very much anymore. I'll tell you who you should stay the hell away from is that crazy ass bitch. Like, she's just literally like, what's that song? It's like something, I thought of her when I was looking at her community post, true crime disaster. It's absolutely appalling. Like, I literally, someone posted something in the groups, and I was like, I can't even think of like one word. There isn't a word that I could think of that is like vile enough for her. I mean, the community posts are absolutely disgusting. And if you look at her content and you look at her community, you don't even have to look at her content, look at her community posts, you will see a theme. There is a pattern to her. it is the re-victimization of the family members that are left alive after they've had their loved one murdered, the worst day of their life, losing a child. Nothing's gonna touch it. Oh, Gray, thank you, dude. He just keeps on lying. I wonder if over time he convinces himself the lies are true. Like he tells them so much, they become real to him. It's actually creepy. Yeah, you're 100% right. It does. I know exactly what you're talking about, where someone like they end up being the product of their own, like they are the delusion that they created. Like they're, and now it's a full on delusion of where they really think like this is true. But yeah, most of the stuff that he lies about, you're just like, there was really no need for that, you know? Like, what purpose did that serve? But yeah, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you do. And I'll tell you what, if they don't portray you the right way in that CW doc, that freaking documentary, I think it's going to be and end up being like a thank God you were there, because these idiots, the other idiots, like I can't even. It's embarrassing. Like it's you know, and they live in like, you know, a couple of them, they live in Indiana. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, ugh, just so it'll probably end up being, if they don't, I know how editing could go, and that could be, man, that would be tough to like wonder how they're going to edit something, because they do it all the time. And I mean, you guys see Greeno do it all the time. You can edit something and make it look like someone said or did whatever, but from the likes of the other people that were involved in that, Gray will probably end up being its only saving grace, to be honest. It's just gross. Thank you, Chaotic. Thank you for sharing that. They interviewed Melvin. I know. Like, I don't. What? And she's been on lately. They would, yeah, like that. That would be like a. I mean, because that's just like that is your persona. It's like a part of like. I mean, it's probably just part of who you are every day, because that's, you know, what you see is what you get with Gray, you know. But yeah, like he probably, I wonder why they did that. Like, I wonder if there was like they had like a ulterior motive. Yeah, I think that I would probably feel the same way, and it is insulting, you know, of like, there's I just, oh Lord, like I am so curious to see this thing, but I hope that they don't do him dirty, because he really is, but he's literally the one that has been there from the very beginning of this case. Greeno has not. Like, he likes to claim that, and he likes to say he's from Delphi, but he's not. He's from like Idaville, which is, you know, that's the lie right there. Like, it's Idaville is literally like right there. Like, all of these tiny little towns, like, I'm from Idaville. It's just like literally right there next to Delphi. Like, I grew up, you know, hanging out with all my friends at Delphi, because Idaville's even smaller than Delphi. Like, why not just tell the truth of where you're from? Why do you got to say that you're from Delphi, boots on the ground? Like, you're not. But you're not. So, and it's easy to prove stuff like that, because there's like court records showing where you live, idiot. Cheryl, thank you so much. She says, show, come on. Love watching your lives and the stories you cover. Thanks for standing up and telling the truth about Greeno. You're very welcome. You are very welcome. Greeno don't have many followers than he did, so you're doing something. Yeah. I wouldn't read that. Yeah, thanks, Frank. I appreciate you. I give props where due, but Gray's right. He's in love with himself and the reenactments he creates. He needs help. Yeah. Yeah, like just the sharing of himself. It's like so weird, especially when he talks about himself in the third person, and then pretends like he's had like some profound philosophical quote. Greeno says something, cliche. Add in whatever voice for the voiceless, voice for the victims, which didn't even come up with that. Um, oh, geez. Oh my gosh. What a nightmare. Thank you, Chaotic. I appreciate you putting those in there for me. Hey, Jerry. Yeah, he is. He is. That's a we were talking about that in like Messenger the other day. And it's like he is. I grew up with televangelists, and I know exactly what he means by that word and him. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, there. It's just like, yeah, and I saw that with Snay sharing. There's just there should be it's a moral thing, So depending on, she obviously like I'm not talking about her because she's just beyond um like I said, a, she's just vile. She's just absolutely vile, and there's a pattern to it. And where you can catch someone like her and really see their agenda is looking at just look at her community post over a period of time, say 3 months, and what is the agenda in each of the different cases, because there's one for Idaho, there's one for Delphi, and that's where you're going to get to really see the truth about who she is and what she's doing and why she's doing it. Um, I don't understand why people like her exist in this true crime community, and I'm disgusted when I see people commenting in on her community posts and stuff that I see in chats other places and actually give her any credence. And but what she does is absolutely deplorable. It's disgusting. And we, as a community, a real crime community, those of us that actually do care, actually do, because for me, there's the victims of the crime, and then there is the secondary victims of the crime, and those are the family members, and we don't have a right to accuse them. And the thing is, it's like it's not even relevant. None of it is relevant. It never has been, never will be. But that's her agenda. Look at what she does with other cases. That's where you're going to get to see right through her or him or whoever the hell they are. It's just absolutely disgusting. And I was going to take us on a little stroll over there to really point out some of the people that comment and like the vulgarity, just the nastiness of it and the agenda. Because when you go and you look, and I promise you, keep that in your mind of just trying to find the pattern of behavior on her side. And that's where you'll be able to discredit pretty much everything she does. Because once you see that pattern, she discredits herself. And no other creator has to do it. And that anyone would think that her sketch of the crime scene is anything that should be in the public, you're sick. Like you're really sick and you're really twisted, and that I don't understand. Okay, so like that Zab girl, don't like her, don't know who she is, think she's kind of dumb, but like she did something why are people not attacking true crime design for that realistic, probably sketched it over, right over top of the crime scene photo would be my guess. It's disgusting, and I don't understand. It's there's just no words. Sometimes in this case, is that because I have been here, not on YouTube, but I've literally the live helicopter footage. That is where, well, actually, the night before it was on the news, and it's like 2 girls missing in Delphi, and it was just like, oh, my daughter's the same age as them, and her best friend. I'm like, they probably just, wandered off. They probably, are out somewhere with a group of friends. Like, it was a nothing, that night. Went to bed, didn't think another thing about it, but it was on the news, and it was like, oh, well, I know where that is. Like, I used to go there all the time with, like, the homeschool group to Delphi, because it's historical everywhere, and it's a huge historical thing, so obviously pretty big with homeschool community. But yeah, like, then the next day I'm cleaning the house, and like, it's on, the helicopter footage is on, and it's like, oh man, when they find them girls, they'd be in so much trouble if that were my two, and then it was just like, all of a sudden, there was just like a shift, and then I wanted to go outside, and the TV was like, you can follow us on like Facebook and like watch this live, and that was literally my first introduction into any kind of live commenting at all. I don't think I commented, but I was reading them once I had it on my phone and not the big screen, and it was disgusting. The like, people were in there, immediately just being disgusting, and accusing the like family members, and accusing like people in the town, and just like talking really bad about the victims. There was one lady that was talking about her granddaughter and a friend was like attempted kidnapping in, I want to say, Logansport. But it was just like, what in the world? Like, these are real people. Just like all of this, like, they're just like word vomiting on this like live news coverage. And it was just like that. So that was why it's like, what the hell is this? It was crazy just to see, you know what I mean? To like see all of that, like, oversharing and like vomit of the mouth, like just typing, just whatever they think in their head, they're just like typing it. And it was just my first experience with it. But True Crime Decline said I sent signals to the Illuminati while I was recording. Yeah, I saw that. She's got like a bunch of people that, like, Holman, he's just sitting there, and then I saw the one where she said that you were doing it. So I think my theory is based on her delusions, and I think she's just psycho. So the Masons are covering up for the Odins. That's what I surmised out of her nonsense, is that she thinks the Freemasons, which is like Gray and Holman and McLeland, and like law enforcement, prosecutorial, town people, are Freemasons, and the Freemasons are in on the conspiracy to cover up for the Odins, who are the white supremacists. And so, yeah, the Freemasons and the Odins are team now, and, the corruption is just, I don't know. I don't know much about Freemasons, but I have family members that have been in the Freemason. Like, it's not, I don't know, it's silly. But I don't know much about it, but I'll tell you what, it's asinine, and to give any like a thumb up or even a comment of like she'll go away when you go away, when you stop commenting on her stuff. Like she's just a, it's just a horrible. But that's my take on her, is that the she believes that everything is a conspiracy. It's like, what are those people, like flat earthers, like the flat earth people, or the NASA's not real, it's just like hot, like hired actors and all of this stuff. And like, for some reason, they just want to be in the minority of thinking of, like the 9/11 didn't happen, the World Trade Center, it was all fake. And if you look at like the psychology of people like that, they tend to be the ones that in the room where if someone agrees with them, then they don't like it because they're not special, they're not confrontational enough, and they don't like want you to get on board with their conspiracy because they want to incite you. And that's what she does. It's plain as day in her pattern. When you look at her content, don't watch her videos. Just go to the posts, because you can learn all you need to know right there. Go to the community post, and that way you're not subjecting yourself to that disgustingness. But look for the pattern, and then you can help other people to see the pattern too. And then that's when you expose someone like that for the person that they are, then in my opinion, you're helping the families more than if you cover the case. It's being adjudicated. There's nothing we can help with anymore. I follow it because it's, I want to see something all the way through, because you can learn something for your future work. Like in the podcast, that's my agenda, is to get cases in all the different categories: unsolved, missing, solved. Even like Ray Hainish was solved, but not he was not indicted. Just all the different categories. And then with Garrett Kurtz and Garth and all the delinquents, I followed it all the way through the judiciary, and now even into the appeal. And my point by doing that is to help people to see what these family members that don't ask to be in this new club, no one wants to be in it, what they go through at each stage and what it's like for them, because now they're the only victims that are alive. And I'll be damned if I ever feel bad about wanting to be right more than I want to be morally right. Like I want to, like, I don't, if I'm wrong, like if I don't talk about a family member and like in another case and they end up doing it, this one is done. I don't know why. It's like Crying Geek's mom would say, it's a nothing burger right now, because it's in the court's hands, it's in the prosecutor's hands, it's in the judge's, in the a possible jury. There's nothing that we're not of any help. It's just not where it's at, and the best way we can help is to, in my opinion, is to like call out these sickos that have leached on to these cases, because they're doing it with Idaho. And it's just disgusting, like the victim blaming and the shaming of the family and the just outright lies. I mean, poor Kelsey has been through hell, absolute hell. And thank God she has not internalized anything that these creatures put out. And she has instead turned to mentors that have been where she is, and she's made a difference. And that was one of the main things I took away from Crime Con was I couldn't have give two shits about shaking Nancy Grace's hand or talking to Benton or any kind of like talking head. Like, it was annoying. They were just like in the way most of the time. But like these big, huge booths, just like flashiness, and like they're okay. You're on TV and you can talk. You're in the news. Okay, what have you done? Like what? You've got literally Barbara Ray Venters was sitting at a event, like her booth there with the DNA project, something, I forget the name of it. But I was over at the Jed match because, that was just amazing, like what they were doing with their booth was super cool. And I was talking to the guy, and she came up, and I'm like, I just, like I would totally fangirl out over like meeting her or Ann Burgess or, like Dr. Carlisle. I read his books, and my all time favorite, like I love I love that kind of information. And she was literally sitting at this booth, and he took me over to her, and I totally had like I literally didn't even, I just like, it's you. Like that's all I got out. I was actually embarrassed. Like, and I just made a complete fool out of myself. But it was just like, she's literally like right here. It was like, one of these days I've got, I would love to really kind of deep dive into some of these the geneticist teams and all the different stuff. Like, it's pretty cool, and we are literally like, these are the pioneers of these things, and we're like, no one even, they didn't even know who she was. Like, it was just weird. But yeah, I do too, Ivy. I mean, it's just so nonsensical, and it's just so, I just really think that, like, I see people commenting of like, oh, all these creators are just talking about each other, and why don't they get back to the solving the Delphi case? Do you know how dumb you sound saying that a YouTube creator is going to solve the Delphi case? Come on, like that would be the exception to the rule. It has that happened before, I'm sure, but like, that is the exception to the rule. No creator is going to solve the Delphi case or any other case for that matter. But what we can do is bring awareness, and we can call out the ones that are disgusting. And that can really help the families. Give them a little bit of break. At least let them know that there's people out there, good people that are logical, and they're willing to stand up for them. Martin Niemöller, that one. First they came, I'll start in probably the middle of it, the unionist, and I was not a unionist, and I did not stand up. Then they came for trying to think, the different things they came for. The socialists, and I was not a socialist, so I did not stand up for them. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to fight for me. So that's why when you know that someone else is right, or they're being senselessly abused by a community that you say you are all about and you love it, and then to not stand up for them, like, what are you doing? You have to really reevaluate. There's all different categories in here, but I think it's really easy to spot the good and the bad, and definitely don't listen to any kind of crazy ass darkness and light that Julie Melvin talks about. Like, she literally she, I, it's unbelievable, but this lady is such a narcissist. She literally said this out loud, and like she thinks it's true. Like she really, I think she really believes it. Like the delusion that she has, you know, she believes it. Like she believes that she is the light, and when she walks into a room, the darkness scatters because they recognize the light, and they want to get away from it, and she is that light, and she refers to herself like that, and it's it is so pathetic. And she talks about how she is a law-abiding, tax-paying, working citizen. Um, Good people don't need to tell you all of that. So there's your sign, right? There's one sign, and then to endlessly just keep inserting that jargon into her speeches is weird. Like, I'm a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. I'm a good person, and for them to treat me like this, like that right there, them to like, how could they not know that I am a law-abiding, tax-paying, good citizen, and that I've always just been fighting for justice for Abby and Libby, and that I will never stop fighting for justice for Abby and Libby. Then she's vile. She's said some of the most wretched things. She's done some of the most wretched things, and she won't take accountability for them. But she still talks about the freaking stuff on Twitter that I won't even bring up because it's so deplorable. And it calls into question the character of the medical examiner. And she's just flat out disgusting and lying. And she has an agenda. And you can go, no matter where she is, it doesn't matter what channel lets her on, you are going to hear about Becky. And she's the one that's obsessed. She literally said out loud that Becky was obsessed with her. Becky's the one that's obsessed with her. And I have to say that, like, I liked Doug Carter, and I hope that she's just lying about that. But man, I find it, like, it makes me question his integrity if he is associated with her, and like that just blows my mind. I don't know why anyone would definitely want her a part of any kind of documentary. That's terrifying. But she's never been about anything but herself, and she is the one that hasn't. You, like I said, you're going to find the pattern. It doesn't matter who hosts her. They are going to hear about Cody and Becky and Mike and Tara, and how they are out to get her, and she's the light and they're the darkness, and they don't treat her very well, and they don't like her, and they had her removed. We should be applauding them. Thank God. Like, it's about time someone stood up to her. She's ridiculous. And all I know is that if I don't understand people. I don't understand why they don't think of, like, what if this was me? What if this was my child? And there was someone out here like her. And then maybe think about, oh, you are that person. Have you ever thought about, like, what if this was your child and there was someone out here like you, acting the way that you act? I hope to God people don't consider that and then continue on. Like, to say, like, oh man, like, what would I want, or what would I do, or how would I feel if this was my child, this was my daughter, this was my son? Like, do people not think about that? Because they must not, I hope. Because if they do, and then they continue on in that behavior of, like, justifying their actions, and then boldly claiming that they, like, she makes it sound like she's done more for Abby and Libby than they have. Huh? Like, what are you talking about? I, I'd do good to get up the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. I'd feel like I'd be doing good to get up out of bed. And so when you see these families going to Crime Con, do you think they go there because they like it? Because of any other reason than they have to find something to hold on to be helpful, to help someone else, because the pain is too much. But they have been able to make that choice to get up and then make a difference. Those are heroes. Those aren't, like, that's a hero right there. Like, you have no idea. I have no idea. All I can say is that if that happened to my kid, I don't know. I don't know if I would be in this world much longer past that day. Like, just being real. And so when I see Gabby Petito's dad raising money and awareness and starting a foundation, that it like when I talked to him, I was like, I hate it that you're here, that you have to be here, because the reason that you're here is your daughter was murdered by a piece of shit. And now like, here's where the signs, and now you're in this position where you're here now, and that sucks. But I'm glad that you are here, because you really are helping, and you really are making a difference, because the domestic violence is still the leading. I mean, it is just stranger on stranger murder, and serial killing is rare in comparison to the much more prevalent problem of domestic violence. And like, Yearly Love's mother, she's had a foundation since, I think that case was in the early 2000s, or maybe like 2012. And she didn't know that domestic violence in college aged, right in high school, college aged kids was a thing. She, there was no awareness of that, and it was like, what? Like, well, that, like, she literally talks about that, and then so she started One Love, the foundation that is huge now and helps so many people. And like, when you can turn your worst day, your worst nightmare, there isn't anything worse that can happen if you have a child, and there is nothing worse than something happening to that child. There just isn't. There's nothing worse that you have to endure in this life. Like, the loss of a child is the worst thing. I don't care what anybody else says. It just is. It's so. I don't know. I was thinking of another thing earlier. I can't remember whose comment it was that I read. Blue button up. Oh my gosh. It's so horrible, but it's actually disturbing for someone to use suicide against another person. Like, if you don't do A, B, C, and D, I'm going to kill myself. If you don't stay with me, if you, to manipulate, like, to use that against someone else is just absolutely, that is just like, that is the lowest of the low. And just like, it's not, it's not your choice, you know, like that is solely on that person. And that for them to use that against you to try to manipulate you into doing A, B, C, or D is just so sick. So there's that. But like in that forking video, what do you see? Hanging there. Because it's totally fake. Like he did everything about it when you watch it analytically. If you have seen it, like I will never show it because it's just I've had friends kill themselves, and that choice is solely theirs. I learned, you know, the hard way, the long way, because I did blame myself for my friend's suicide when I was 15 years old. Another friend of ours, he had he was my best friend, and I hadn't had, you know, it was my first year to be in an actual school, you know, and Andy was just like, he meant so much to me, and he was my friend. And then at the end of the year, he decides, you know, he's got something to tell me. And then he tells me that he wants to be more than friends. And I was just like devastated. Like that made me so, I was so hurt and I was so angry because this whole time, this whole year, it was just a lie. Like, you know, it just felt like he just like shit all over that, you know, and like I was mad at him. And then he didn't come back to school the next year, and we had another, like, me and this kid, we were not friends. I didn't like him, he didn't like me. But we were both friends of Andy's, and he came up to me in the hallway and was like, "You need to call him. He's, you know, he could. I think it would be good for him to hear from you." Like, and I knew, like, for him to come up to me, like, I probably should have taken that more seriously, you know, because he didn't like me and I didn't like him. So for him to, like, even ask me to call him, you know, I felt like I should have been more alarmed. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you know. And I didn't call. And then he asked me the next day, he's like, you know, please call him. Like, he's not in a good place. And I didn't call him. And then he killed himself. And in my 15-year-old mind, it was all my fault. If I had called him, then he would be alive. And I can remember I was close with his mom and dad, and, you know, like, you know, you go to, I spoke with, you know, like, we're taking a bus to his funeral, and we get about halfway there, and this other guy stands up and he just yells at me in front of the whole bus of, like, can't believe you would even show your face at his funeral. It's all your fault. He killed himself because you're selfish and blah, blah, blah. And, like, he was right. You know, I thought he was right. And I didn't even want to get off the bus. Like, I was like, he's right. Like, what? Like, I am such an asshole. Like, how dare I even, like, come here? You know, I wouldn't even call him. I didn't even call him, you know. And his parents came, and I went in because of them. But I always blamed myself. Always. Until I was about 30 and I was in counseling. Like, my psychiatrist, it came up. I don't even know how she got it out of me, because I didn't talk about it at all at that time, you know. And it came up, and, you know, and I'm like, she wanted me to talk about it, and I'm just like, what more is there to say? Like, my selfishness caused him his life. Like, he died, he killed himself, like, and it's all my fault. And she goes, wow, that's really narcissistic of you to think that you have the power over life and death. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, narcissist? What are you talking? She pissed me off. And then that night, I was like, man, like, narcissistic of you to think that you have the. I just kept like thinking about that, what she'd said, and I'm like, damn, like, she's right. Like, and that I just let it go. Like, then that's when I realized, like, that, like, that wasn't my fault. And anyone that tries to do that to you, like Greeno did to this new ex-girlfriend, I mean, eventually she's going to be an ex-girlfriend, and it's just a matter of time, And no, Greeno, I didn't contact her, nor have I ever, nor will I. I just say the same thing to her. I wish her well, and I hope she is safe, Like the sheriff of Carroll County. Oh my gosh, please tell me no. Yes, she is. Hey, Deb. Yes, she is. Hey, Chris. We really need to do that, Mel. I've been meaning to learn how to use DNA with genealogy. I don't. I have all those books. I have all the books that we were supposed to use to do that. I got really into the like human genetics of like medical genetics in the epigenetic profile, like in that, like the SNPs, and it's all the same stuff, but I used it for medical reasons, and that's how I, like, by proxy ended up following and reading books. I am so embarrassed. I can't remember her name. I mean, I talk about her all the time. I have all of her books. She's on Gray's. Gray Hughes has her on. She's like literally my idol, and I am just a complete brain part of what her name is. Yeah, hey Steffa, how are you? Hey Grind Geek. This was making the point that we as humans do not have the power over. Yes, you get it, Steffa. Thank you. Like, I hope no one misunderstood what I was trying to say with that, because she was calling me out of my narcissistic thinking, because it was to think that I have the power to keep someone else alive. That is narcissistic. And like when she put it into that context in such a, she jarred me out. It's like by saying it so like, I mean, that's how she said it. She's like, wow, that's really, I told her this big old thing, what I just told you guys. And she says, wow, that's really narcissistic of you to think that you have the power over someone's life and death. Wow. Like, so it was almost like she jarred me out of my own prison, that I had created for myself in that one sentence. Like, she literally changed the trajectory of my life. Like, by that, what I considered at that time was like rude, but it was the most loving, rude thing that anyone that I appreciate so much still to this day. Like, the best thing, like, to get me to realize that, of like, you can't control what other people do. You can't control other people, and you can't control what they do. All you can do is control yourself. You can make the choices, but you can't make other people's choices for them. And when you meet people that constantly want to do that, like what Greeno does, that's a huge red flag. Narcissist. Run or become a narcissist yourself. Fitzpatrick, Colleen Fitzpatrick. Yes. Yes, thank you. I don't. Hey, Hope. It's good to see you here. It's been a minute. But yeah, she is. Oh my gosh. If I met her in real person, in like real life, it would probably be more embarrassed than what it was when I met Barbara Ray Benners, because Colleen is like, she's like my Robert De Niro, you know, like, man, the accomplishments and the just the brain on that woman, and like, it's unbelievable, you know, just um support with Stepha says, Mel, you just changed my thinking on a serious situation that has been causing me so much anxiety. Oh, that's awesome. um yeah, and like, the thing is like, if she hadn't have jarred me out of that narcissistic way of thinking, that this was something that I had power over, um, I would have never spoke of this. I would have continued like I had the first 15 years after his death, of trying to bury it, but it always like coming back out of just that, like, what is that called? Well, basically, you know, you're just like self-hatred, you know, just like, I'm the worst. Can't believe I did that. I'm so selfish. You know, like, if I hadn't just freaking called him, he'd be alive. You know, all of that thinking, and I can't say that it doesn't cross my mind every time I think of Andy, but would it made a difference? That's not for me to know either. I don't have control over that. I don't have power over that. I'm not that special, you know? And I'm glad that I can talk about that now, and that I was able to move past that negative emotion, feeling, because it did, like, for so many years I would just wanted to be, I was, I pretended to be heartless. Like, I didn't talk to people about myself. I mean, I was proud of the fact that I didn't cry at mushy movies, you know, like, I was proud of the fact that I didn't cry. Like, but it wasn't it clearly wasn't who I am as a person. It was a coping mechanism that I held on to, because I felt like, if I, you know, if like I don't, I'll fall all the way apart. Like, I won't make it. So I gotta be a front of myself to protect myself. And then as I healed and learned better ways of like coping and working through things, and then that's when you really have the wisdom to know the difference, you know, and like, you can be there, and you're not, your worst days are no longer something that haunt you, or because you learned something from them. You learn to be a better human being. You learn to put better things out there moving forward. You changed. You didn't I didn't, you know, that situation or any situation, you know, like I talk about with like anything, you know, if you, when you do a behavior and then then you come to a point where you're like, oh wow, like, I recognize why I'm doing that, and I recognize that that's a mistake and it's wrong. And then from that day forward, you change, and you don't keep repeating that. Like, that's not a mistake. Like, you know, that's a life lesson, and like, you're better off for having learned it. But yeah, what? Now I know what to say to her. Thank you, Mel. Oh, Purple Passion. Yeah, yeah. You know, like, I do tend to be. I need someone to be like how my psychiatrist, which I still see her now, um, I need like it, and I have a gastroenterologist, and like she's the same way, and like I need people like that. I need people to just to be like very blunt, very to the point, and just like call me out. You know, one time she was like, I have colon I have polyps that are they're 100% going to turn into cancer, and I got really lucky that I ended up going for a colonoscopy when I was like 26 or 8, 26 or somewhere around right in there. And then they found them, you know, I mean, because normally you don't get those until you're like 40 years old. I'd have been dead. And so that's when they found them. And then like mainly every year, every 3 years, I have to go and get them removed before they turn into cancer. And I've had some like really close calls, you know, with them. And but the prep is just brutal. It's so brutal. I'm allergic to all of them, and I have to like it's like a month long thing. Like it's just brutal. And I was complaining to her about it. Like, why do I have to have it next year? Like, come on, like just I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna do it. Like I'll I was trying to like, you know, wager with her. Like I'll do 5 years, but I'm not doing two. More and she wanted me to do one. I'm like, that's absolutely ludicrous. I'm not doing it. And she goes, nah, that's fine. You know, because a colostomy bag isn't inconvenient at all. It's like, oh shit. Literally. Like, she literally did, okay, well, okay, I'll see you next year, you know? Like, I think sometimes people don't realize how much they need bluntness or, you know, just like saying something like that to like get you to, like, what? Okay. Now when you say it like that, like, why am I complaining? definitely not definitely not wanting to lose half my intestines, I'll tell you that. So when you put it into perspective like that, I was like, okay, now I haven't complained since. Maybe I should market my private practice as Delphi case therapy. Oh yeah. Hey, Mother of Dragons, how are you? So I got to thinking because we went to Michigan, like in uh, was it September, August, or September? I don't know. We go every year. We go to a friend's. They have a lake house down there, private lake, and all like there's just a whole big group of us, and we've been doing it since we've been together. Like we've been going there for 15, 16 years, and like marijuana, like the dispensaries and stuff. You know, it's like the thing there. It's legal or whatever, and you know, like they had made a run, and like how much was this? I was just blown away at the fact that like you can buy all of this stuff, like all of this stuff, and then like but just like for people that like smoke marijuana on a daily or you know medicinal or otherwise, I don't get I don't I mean I don't care. It's not my body is not a fan of it, but like I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. I think it should all be legalized. But the fact was it was so freaking expensive. I was like, you spent what, $35 for a sucker? Like absolutely not. Like that to me is just I can't even. And then like you can only buy so much, but the limit was basically like $250 for like I'm like, what? That is insane. So my point is, um, Greeno, you know, like here's this douchebag, like running to Washington, you know, trying to get someone else to take care of him and pay for his way in life, and he's buying weed and like that's the price of it. So like he has that much money that he's able to, because he talks about it. He seems to be proud of the fact that he smokes weed. So like here he is, like just smoking up all your money. Pretending like he's giving you what you want. He is really helping the Delphi case. No, he's literally just sitting in a hotel room smoking weed that you paid for. Like it is, that is, that is special. You gotta admit, like that is a pretty special gift that this guy's got, that he is able to like brag to you about the weed that he smokes. Let's just look it up. Let's just see, like, what is the average cost? Oh my. All right. Breakdown. This seems like a good higher leaf. Let's see about getting some information. Breakdown of dispensary prices in Washington. $230. But what is that? What is that for? An ounce. So are there any people that are like dailiers that could like break down how much a person that doesn't have a job or a home and doesn't pay child support would be paying for his marijuana a month? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if is an ounce like something that is a weekly thing, a monthly thing. I don't know. I'd have to ask someone else. Hey, Sin City. Yeah, I was going by asking people to buy him things. He literally asked someone to get him he can afford weed. Exactly. People are idiots. That's my point. Thank you for saying that so well. That's my point. Oh my gosh. What? Really? A week. Wow. Hey, listen, like just because it doesn't work for me, it doesn't mean that. I mean, actually have done a shit ton of research on medicinal marijuana and like specifically in the hybrids for medical conditions. What my daughter has. That's why I did a lot of research, and then my dad and I did it together, and it's insane the medicinal benefits of that. And it sucks that we live here in Indiana, like because when my dad and we went out to Colorado, like more my family, but while we were there we went to the dispensary of the one of the main, we were reading like peer reviewed, like as much as we could get and much as my aunt would get us, of just like studies done on the medicinal benefits of marijuana for pain mostly, and just like a bunch of different things that were going to affect her in her future, because opioid abuse in EDS and connective tissue disorders is pretty high, and it's pretty scary. And she's allergic to, because the pain is so bad. Think about dislocating your patellas, or your just her literally her, like, her spine, when she sits down on it, it's bent the wrong way. So she's just like all like she just didn't, there's pain, you know. She's had a lot of pain that she's had to deal with, and she's allergic to, I don't know what class they are of opioids, like the hydrocodone, Norcos, and that kind of stuff. So they give her oxy, and when the first time they gave her that, you know, she was like maybe 10 or 11. I mean, terrifying, you know, because I look at like other people, and that's how they've gotten addicted to heroin, you know, is pain pills. And like that terrified me. So I did a ton of research on marijuana. And me and my dad were all about it. And like when we went there, it was crazy because they gave us access to like a lot of their research and their like of what their studies have been. And I mean, even things like tracheobronchomalacia. I was telling the lady had asked me like what I was specifically interested in, and then she asked, like, I said EDS, and she said, well, we have like these we have studies on different pain disorders and things, and the neuropathy and different things like that. And then she started talking about tracheobronchomalacia, and I was just like, huh? Are you kidding? Like, because that's one of the main things that she has wrong with her is tracheobronchomalacia. Her trachea is just flimsy and it collapses. And her heart, when her heart beats, it closes it off because she's what called a bovine arch, insignificant in most all, you know, normal connective tissue people. It's insignificant. But for her, it wrapped the vasculature off of the heart wraps around her trachea, and so when her heart pumps, it closes it off. And as the older she's gotten, the better it's gotten, and then her bronchial tubes are twisted. And so I was just like, I would have never even thought to like, what, marijuana for that? But yeah, like she gave me all this whole big old stack, and I was just so impressed. Now she's 18. Yeah, she's 18. Yeah. It is. But not when you like you can't pay for your own way in life, you know, like when you're not like telling anybody how to spend their money, but when you have someone like literally he literally was like, well, now you have to, I need you to send me some super chats so I can pay for Twitter to get my account verified so that I can talk to news people for you. So I'm going to need someone to send me that money. Okay. Okay. Okay, Greeno. Oh, thank you, astrology worded letter. Do you? Yeah, they're pretty awesome kids. I'm pretty proud of them. Right. Yeah. No, it's not even 100. It's usually 50 for Walmart. It's a Walmart gift card. I think he just like he keeps sharing the same one. It's probably like a fake from clip art. But man, I gotta go. I was just gonna literally plan on being on here for this short time to read this letter and call out his lies. Oh, thank you, Crime Geek. Astrology or strongly. Ah, I literally thought it said astrology word letter. A strongly worded letter. I got it. Eh. Have you seen those clips on TikTok? What is a word you mispronounce one time and will never know? May May. I did that too. I didn't know. Like, oh, I think I said Mimi. What is a Mimi or a GIF? What are they called? Are they called Jiffies or GIFs? I think they're GIFs, but I was calling them Jiffies. We gotta find a jiffy for that. And someone was like, "What are you talking about? A jiffy? A GIF?" And I was like, "Yeah, you know those little things, the little funny things." They're like, "You mean a GIF?" It's like, "Oh, okay. I like Jiffy better." And Mimi, yeah. And then I still don't understand now. I guess it doesn't matter because it's called X. What? Just an X. Just Twitter is now X. But what's, why is it not called a twit? Why is it called a tweet? When it's Twitter, like you're twitting people. It's what you're doing. You're on Twitter. You're twitting around, twitting someone else, but it's called a tweet. I don't know. But I called it twits. So I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I know. I knew you were gonna freaking say that, and I don't know. Nike or Nike? I can never remember which one it is. Tell me which. Is it Nike? No, it's Nike. We should ask Greeno. He'd probably know. He wears a lot of. Oh, did you guys notice that he probably heard me and then he changed his hat out so he's not wearing Nike from head to toe. Yeah. Oh, you are the queen of the gifs. You are the queen. Yeah, me too, Ivy. Like I what? We're not. Why did they do? Because they're trying to do that now. Facebook's called like Meta something. I was so confused. I thought that they had rerouted me to some like freaking scam. I was trying to log out of my Dakota Kelly messenger, so trying to get back into my like Mel Roberts one, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Metaverse or so? I don't know what it's called, but it was like, stop with the changing things. What's Mean Gene saying? Just popping in, wasn't happy with Greeno doxing Gray Hughes. Okay, Mean Gene. You don't care about him saying that I'm trying to step out on Mr. Cold Truth. You are? You're still on MySpace? Is that real? Really? I would love to be able to get into my old MySpace. Um, I don't know. I, yeah, he's all around icky. Ask your girls if it's cool to wear the same emblem, like Nike shoes, Nike hat, Nike shirt, Nike sweatshirt, Nike socks, Nike bandana. Like, he literally got his girlfriend took him to the outlet mall and he went bananas for Nike. And yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Space hay that looks like it used to? Really? AIM? No. I have no idea what that is. I had a flip phone until like 2010. I was like, I refused. I didn't want a smartphone. Like, I didn't have a flip phone. I didn't have a cell phone until 2008, 9, 8, maybe 7. Into 7, 2000, into 2007. Hides behind his hat every video like he's hiding from everyone. Yeah, yeah, him in that hat. I made a video where I intentionally like wore a hat so I could make fun of him because he was his like fake Chadwell victim video where he claimed to have her parents let him talk to her. absolutely never happened. He wasn't there. He was on the run already. We found that out later, but he got online and was like, told her, like, I'll always be here, like to protect. Like, what the fuck? Like, what parent says that to another kid? Like, that you can't, you're not that. Like, no parent would ever say that to someone else's kid. Like, he's an absolute moron. It was one of the worst ones, Ivy. It was so appalling because he'd already like victimized that poor little girl by showing on a live the cops delivering a basketball hoop to that little girl. The investigators that got her out of there, like, they wanted to do something kind for her, and they gave her a basketball goal. And that mother effer played it on him and that other loser of a guy that follows cops around. Idiot. And they didn't even edit her. They didn't even blur her out. Like, this is a 9-year-old little girl that this guy brutalized and had every intention of murdering her. Like, he sadistically tortured that little girl. The things that she went through. And thank God they were literally just in time. And he was ready for her. He was ready for her. Like, he had the locks. He had the room. Like, I don't think, because he just pled guilty, like, no one gets to hear all of the sick, sadistic, twisted stuff that poor little girl had to go through. And she survived. And here this asshat is putting her face out there. Like, it's on her street, in her neighborhood, on a private road. I was so disgusted. I called the police department, and they knew exactly what I was talking about and who I was talking about. They knew all about him, and they're like, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do. It's a public, road. Like, they can videotape from, like, but that he did that. And then he topped it off by pretending like because people paid for him to go to that court, Chadwell's hearing. People paid for him to go, and he didn't go. So he thought he better get on and lie about it. And he literally sat there and like made up this horrendous story about how he talked to this little girl. Like, that she was actually there is ridiculous. It's his sentencing hearing. And like, that he had a conversation with her. It was disgusting. It was absolutely deplorable. It is invading her privacy again, re-victimizing her over and over again while claiming to be a voice for the voiceless. Are you kidding me? That march for justice is not his. Again, just like he's doing with Snay and Gray and Noe and whomever else, like, he's trying to insert himself because he's irrelevant. And so he's trying to insert himself into that, and you guys are falling for it. It's like, oh my gosh. His fake green screen was very upsetting to me. Right. How many does one guy need? Didn't he say he told her she could come to him for support? Yeah. And that he would be like something ludicrous, like I will protect you, and like, you'll never go through that. Like, it was just the most. I have it recorded. I would never air it, but I have it recorded so that I can be factual on it. It's just, it's so gross. It's so gross. Yeah, who's better, Gray or Snake? Is that really a question? Come on. Yeah. Yes, a strongly worded letter. That's what he said. It was disgusting. A trillion times better. Like, it's not. It's offensive that their names were used by him. And, like, he was proud. Like, he thought that Gray was going to, like, think that was something special. Like, hey, I stood up for you. Oh, my gosh. I think that almost makes it worse, you know, of like the fact that Greeno thinks he's got your back. Like, I just felt so bad for Gray. But like I said earlier, he's absolutely lying about Gray buying a tracker. He told Gray that I told him that. Absolutely did not. That never happened. He's a liar. It's just an absolute misogynistic liar, you know. And I'll just be here telling the truth about him. And you know, the thing is like there have been people that it's helped, and I care about that. You know, like if you could put something out there in this world that helps someone else, that's a good forking day. You know, like that's a good day. Um, that's why I don't understand when people put stuff out there on like a platform like this that is just so like that true crime disgusting person. Like I don't, that doesn't make any sense to me of why you would want to put something out there like that like only hurts people. It doesn't help anybody. Like what is wrong with your head? Like what I don't know. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Like that you would want to put things out there that did the opposite of help. Uh, yes, Chris. Yeah. Yeah, me too, Angel Bear. I know me and you, like, we are like, everybody really, my chats are, oh my gosh, you guys are really just phenomenal. Like, I don't have, I don't know. I just think that everybody that always comments, like, it's always the same people. And I know it's just a name on a screen, but you get to know people's personalities by the way that they write, by the way that they type. And, like, I just don't ever have any problems. I don't think my mods ever have to do a thing. Like, you know, like, even when I talk about Greeno, I still don't get all the hate. And, like, I don't know, maybe they just talk about me behind my back, which is totally fine. Like, could give two forks less. But, like, I just don't have a lot of that, like, you know, troll chats and stuff. It's pretty awesome. Um, I hate to ask, but since he was brought up, can you be my witness that I'm not a Snay supporter and disagree with almost everything he believes about the case? Absolutely. Um, I. It's appalling. It's. I hmm. It's and the thing is like he actually thinks he's like on to something and like got it figured out and like smart and logical. Like I genuinely believe he believes that. Um, it just that what's the word for um, where's Steffa at? She know what I'm trying to say. Um, lack of like insight, like, but it's like a when it's um, when someone doesn't have the ability to like view themselves through a like a microscopic lens, they're not able to like turn that microscope around and like analyze their own um thought, like character, thoughts, everything. Like they're not able to um oh yeah, definitely does the confirmation bias, but he does it. I don't think he knows that he does. Does that make sense? Like he's not. Yeah, there's a lack of self-awareness, 100%. But what is it called when you when you're trying, when you need someone to have that like introspection. That's the word I was trying to think of. But like he doesn't. I don't think he has that, and I think that he genuinely, truly does believe that the stuff that he says. I mean, I don't think that he's able to analytically like analyze his own self, like his the bias is like it's so clear for other people to see, but what's difficult is finding the words that he could understand to get him to see where he's doing that specifically. The confirmation bias, like that one topic. You would struggle to be able to find the words to convey to him, to try to get him to see how you see him. We have the pay Daisy. We have the power. If we don't watch the troublemakers, their channels will end. Like Ross. Yeah. Like that guy. Bye. I'll do it on my backup account. I thought you had one. I thought you were a mod, Chris. Murder Sheet got in bed with them, and the 9-day leak scenario is pretty questionable. Yeah. There's a lot that is super sus about that, and I get it, especially with the GoFundMe. I don't know. I really, really, truly, and I see, like, I have trouble. Here's my own bias in here of like my daughter has, a rare medical conditions, like a bunch of them. She's doing great. Don't get me wrong. Like she's amazing, but like it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot for a kid to have to handle. It's a lot for us to have gone through and learn and like had to, to deal with, and we'll have to deal with. It's not going to go away. And like he, like with the Mark guy, like that's the only thing where I'm just like, no, there's no way. Like to use like a GoFundMe for your sick child to somehow like get paid for leaking the stuff. That seems to be the insinuation. And like when you look at the names on there and you see the amounts, you're just kind of like, well, like that's I just hope to God, like, that someone wouldn't do that and, like, use their own, like, child's, does anybody know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say it without saying it, and it's not working out. I'm not good at that. Crimezilla, thank you so much. You're so sweet. I appreciate it. Appreciate you, and it was awesome to catch up the other night. Yeah, isn't that great? Isn't that great, Ivy? Isn't that so wonderful? Just think how wonderful it will be when we can like totally forget about like Greeno and True Crime Disgusting. Like wouldn't that be so great? No, not the GoFundMe. That doesn't. I've donated those. I've started those for family members. Like that's a great. It's a great thing. But I guess the insinuation is based on the amounts and the names of the donors in the midst of this leak. The crime scene leaks. I just can't. Yeah. Yeah, I just like I can't get down with parents doing that. Like I just don't. I don't know. I don't think that I don't think that guy did that. Oh, yeah. I could never have asked for money. Yeah. No, I don't have a problem with like that. I'm people are misunderstanding what I'm saying. Like we had a go. It wasn't a GoFundMe. We had a fundraiser for in my daughter's honor, like so that we could go to this convention. It was a EDS like convention, and it was in Texas. And my family, like my like extended family, threw a fundraiser for to raise the money for us to be able to go. My dad, myself, and my daughter, and it was family and friends, and like, but so I don't have any, I am so forever grateful because at that, like, the timing of that convention and the people that I got to meet there and the longevity of those relationships and the knowledge that I learned, all three of us learned, and that she actually got to be around kids that completely understood what she's going through, like that is absolutely priceless. And like, so yeah, I mean, the Make a Wish, are you kidding? Like that is, they do amazing stuff. Like it's not about that at all. I've just been seeing that the names on there that have donated a lot. You're just like, well, like what, why? That's weird. I don't know. I just can't see having a child that has like a long-term, medical diagnoses that are really serious. I would never use her illnesses to like, I guess the launder money or like get paid for leaking crime scene photos. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Just from the standpoint of knowing how you don't test fate like that. Like you just don't, like that's your child. Like you just keep them away from anything like above reproach, of like protection. And like, I just don't see it. To me, for my daughter's illness, to promote money for me. Oh, yeah. It's a tricky thing because there is not anything that I would not do for her, and anywhere I would not take her. There just isn't, and like when it comes down to like not having enough money, like I'm just like that cannot be a reason. That should never be a reason for anyone in the world to like suffer or not have help and heal. Like that is just absolutely appalling to me. The way insurance works when you have a long term illness like that, and like even just like life insurance, it's like car insurance, like everything gets held over her head. It's all about the dollar, and it just makes me upset. Okay, guys, you guys have been great. Thanks for hanging out for an hour and 48 minutes talking the truth about Greeno that could have used to exchange money. Yeah, that's why I'm just like, I just can't. I don't think I can see where I get it. Like I see how they got from A to C. Just like I did with when I read the memorandum. Like I was just like the first time I read it, I was so emotional. I was so glad that I only really like talked to my like close like little group in our like chat, because when I reread it and then I reread it again, and then my logical analytical like side could come out on top instead of like how I felt when the very first time I read that. If you haven't done that, I suggest you do that with that memorandum and then read those footnotes. When you read the footnotes, that's where you really see the trick of hand, the exchange of words that are used that sound like they're saying something absolute and definitive when they're actually really not. It's a technique that I think every lawyer should be able to have. They have to, But now I have say so in her care. Not sure which is worse. Yeah. I think you probably mean no say so. It's terrifying, isn't it? I was so scared. We had a friend, he died, he had EDS, and he died, and he was like 29, I think, 29, and, broke my heart and like terrified me every time I saw the kid, I just like, please go to the doctor, please go see your cardiologist, like you have to take this seriously. And he didn't. He turned 18 and he didn't look back. He didn't go to a single doctor. He didn't get didn't take any precaution, did nothing, and he died, and he died from it at 28. And like, there's just some things that when you have this medical, like this genetic condition, you can't do. And he didn't care. He was so wore out by going to doctors that he just like turned 18 and like, no, can't make me. And it was like, I was so terrified that was going to be what happened. But I got a call today, and she called her neurologist on her own and made an appointment. And I'm just like, thank God. Thank God. She's taking this seriously. Like, she wants to, like, do the right things so that she can live the best, longest life possible, If it wasn't for Jesus, she would have already passed away. Oh, I hear you, Sepha. I hear you. It's a whole different bag of burritos, when you're like, oh man, I'll just never forget like that panic. Like, what are these words? Well, I don't. How can you say my daughter's name and aneurysm in the same sentence? Like, what are you doing? Like, why? What? Just like all of these things of just like. But I think at the same time, it's given me a little bit of insight into like, not nearly the same, but when you live with the fact that you may outlive your child, like that's more likely that you outlive your own child. Like, that is, I hate that thought. Like, that fact. It's not like a thought. The probability is high. I can't stand it. Like, it's against nature, And it sucks to like have to live with that thought, but she's still here. And so it's like this dichotomy of like, stop, pretend like you're acting like she's not here. Like, she's here right now. Like, stay in the moment. It's pretty wild. Yeah. That stuff can be hard to do. Yeah, they do, Ivy. Yeah. They absolutely do. And that's the thing is like, that's what I always say about like investigators. They have to all go to some kind of training course of how to tell you something, how to make you think that they told you something when they really told you nothing. Like, they really didn't tell you anything. You're just like, well, And then someone will ask you, like, I've done it with Tom, freaking Tom, you know, the detective. God love him, I like him, but like he drives me batty. He does it to me all the time. Like he'll tell me something, and I'll think like he'll email me, or like I'll ask him a question. He'll respond, and I'll think that he's really told me something, and then I go and like repeat it, and I'm like, oh, that tricky little. He got me again, because it's like, well, wait a second, he didn't actually say like. There's just like that wiggle room. Well, technically, like Holman did it one time when he was asked a direct question. Do you have DNA? And he said, you're always going to have DNA. If I touch you here and we send that to the lab, like that's how he answered that question. So he said something without saying much of anything, because he didn't actually answer the question. Because, of course, you're always going to have DNA. You're going to have the victim's DNA. So he didn't say that they definitively had DNA, even though everybody thought he did. When you actually listen to it, it was just like one of those little sneaky things. I've always meant to ask Steve to speak to it, like Mr. Steve. It's like, can you talk to us about this? Like, do you guys go to special training for this? Because it's quite brilliant. And I get the necessity for it. Semantics, yes, that's the word. Thanks, Cindy Lynn. He was at the time. Had tracked her car. Yeah, she was very angry. She was. Like, yeah, paranoid and nutty. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Crime Geek. You're asking me to compare apples to oranges, and I'm not going to do that right now. Yeah, Doug Carter's full of them. You know who was really bad at them? Kim Riley, the Indiana State Police Public Information Officer. That killed me. Like, I loved the irony of that. Like, that guy, how in the world did he... I really do like Kim Riley, though, but... Is that his name? Is it Kim Riley? But yeah, like, he's not it for, like... When you think of, like, public information officer, like the one we have here, like... Matter of fact, poised, of just everything that you would want when you're receiving public information that is, like, pertaining to murder and, like, crime and, business like that. That guy was just like bright red in the face, and but we're not supposed to name like who the sketch was made of, but she said like not flap, but like, and he was just like, oh, like, and they'd get bright red, I was like, oh my gosh, this is funny, unfortunately. All right, I am literally leaving. Yes, I'm gonna ask Mr. Steve. Oh, there he is. Look at that. Speak and he appears. Actually, 30 minutes ago, I was asked if they had DNA, and I said, of course they have. Libyan Hattie's DNA. Oh, I meant to send you something just because I was like, wow, I think I did something kind of like an investigator. And I wanted to get you to tell me your opinion, but then I was like, yeah, he's not going to give me an opinion. He's just going to tell me. He's too nice to tell me if it was crap. But I had done what you did with that F tree, and then I even used the same colors, and I did like the dark blue for like the more concentrated spot, and then spread it out into like the like iridescent blue for the places where you had to kind of like, is there really blood there? I did that thing too. I mean, yours was definitely better, but yeah, they are slippery. But no, I think that when True Crime Web came along, like he came along at like just the right time for us for the Delphi community, especially, of like, stop listening to the Greenos and these idiots. And like, here's a guy that's like I mean, just really trying to and he sent me an email and it meant so much to me, and it means even more to me now that I like see just how loving and caring him and his wife are, and how incredibly smart and skilled he is at what he does. For him to give me a compliment is just like I don't even have like that is gonna rank up right up there at the top of my list of like, wow, that was really cool, you know. He said something like he liked the way that my brain worked and the way that I viewed like cases, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then like I was thinking about it the other day when I was in this town. I was just like, no, that was like so cool because now I know, you know. Yes, Ivy, exactly. Oh, well, I did not do that. I used Canva, so it was literally nothing like what you did. I just wanted to be able to like show the what the pattern of the where it appears to be like a darker, more concentrated of because to me it's just clearly it's like a hand. Like I don't know. I just don't see an F at all. Like I tried to even like stretch that out when I used the iridescent like blue to like fill in where it could be, but it was like it was like such a stretch. Like it just literally doesn't make anything but like someone like having, you know, more blood on. But the question I did have for you was, were you able to rule out that it could have been Libby's own hand? Like, because we do know that she had blood on her hands. And there was cast off, I think you said, at the bottom of that tree. So that's where I was like, I couldn't remember. And I rewound it even to try to like see if I could piece it together. But I just wanted to ask you directly because I think that you were able to rule that out. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, if I'd only known how beneficial dyslexia can be for tracking like patterns in data, I had no idea. But I am grateful that I'm dyslexic. I always thought I was just like so stupid. But that was kind of the when you can't like when you can't write and you can't read like you don't feel great when you're in school. But I was just not going to allow anyone to call me stupid. So I did end up turning it all around and ended up being graduating like top of my class. But like going to college, that was absolutely out of the question in 1996 when you would have to use a pen and paper to like write essays. And no, like that was just absolutely not anywhere where I thought that I could go. But then, you know, with technology, it's not, I don't even have a issue. Court, that's an issue because you can't record in there. But I can't write anything down. I just have to memorize what's happening in the room, and then it's locked in there for life. Like I can't forget it. But if I try to write it down, forget it. It is Libby's actual hand. Oh, okay. Okay. That's where I was like, I was just kind of confused of like, I thought that's what maybe you were trying to say, but then I was like, maybe he's trying to say the exact opposite of that. But, yeah, that just makes the most sense. They were talking about, you guys need to go, him and Mob Crew were on last night, and, there was some really good, discussion between the two of them and then the experiments and stuff. And what was the one? brought up Chris had brought up where the shoe and the phone were found in correlation with the bullet and the bodies. And Steve was talking about, how you group things together and like you've got the victim, like evident, these things and how they can kind of tell you a story, but there's so much still missing from the story. So you have to be careful not to like add in those things, because there's when you don't have all of the factors and you're going based on, you always have to kind of base your information on just of what you have access to and what you know, and then how it changes over time based on the knowledge. Let's see what he says. The blood spatter on the base of the tree is supportive due to the amount needed, and painting blood would not create that type of pattern. Exactly. Yeah. I'm just gonna pull it up and show it. I don't care if I'm being embarrassed. I'm trying to think where I got it. Let me find this. Because when I did, I was just like, wow. Like when I did it, I mean, it was just more, I was never gonna like share it. And I'm not gonna share it now, but I just wanted to be able to see, because I felt like the picture and the diagram are both just like misleading, I guess, because you're not in the picture. I think people are looking at it as a whole, like, but when you actually really, really zoom in and like look at it without, doing anything crazy, I'm not talking about pareidolia or anything, but just like where the blood is more concentrated in certain, but where that happens is so significant to be able to tell you what kind of blood that is. And that, like, it's not like when you, okay, if you take two fingers and you pull paint, and you pull paint like this, what are you going to get? Like you're going to get like to paint something on, you're going to get a thicker, like it's going to be thicker on the edges of your finger, and then you're going to have like this part, you're going to, because you're pulling it along to make a shape of a letter in a liquid, like that's coagulating on a porous tree. That's never, like, that's not like, that makes zero sense to think that this was an intentional F. That is just, that's so illogical. That is such a jump. I could see where you could see it and be like, ooh, we better figure this out, but then just be like, that's a nothing burger, because it doesn't make logical sense. When you think about just like on a non-porous surface, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know if you can answer this, but are there different stages of uncovering a crime scene? Is there a chance that it was after removal of all the leaves described? Oh. It's Abby's blood on Libby's hands. What? You've got to be kidding me. Even the defense didn't say that. Yeah. Yeah, I think all you can really say to Snay is just like, Occam's razor, buddy. Try it out. Try it out. If you ever need any of my raw footage, let me know and I will share. Oh, thank you. Use it in any positive manner for awareness. Thank you so much. Yeah, he's a great dude. We are lucky to have him in this community, and that he's like so like, I think he really truly does have a heart for like helping just real crime creators to do a better job. Like, that is so amazing. But okay, I'm really gonna go. Thank you, Steve, for popping in. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you later. Have a good one.